little bit. Okay. So y'all let me know in the chat if I'm good. Um, I appreciate I appreciate all of the birthday wishes to everybody. I appreciate all the well wishes because you know to my dad and to my family, all of that kind of stuff. I want to do some shout outs right quick. Let's see who we got in the chat. Let me see. What's good, Beauty in the Beholder? What's up, Nacho Lover? What's good, Showstopper? What's up, Showstopper? I know it's been a little minute, but I'm back. What's good, Showstopper? What's good, Yvette B? Shout out to Yvette B. Shout out to Jessica Landry. So I got some things coming up that I'm about to start doing. I always talk about how I'm always surrounded by goddesses. That's something that I said that I wanted to do starting like 2018, 2019 when I really started on this journey. I was like, from here on out, the only women that I want around me are goddesses. So one thing that I've been kind of noticing in the social media world and in the in these spaces and stuff like that, there's not a lot of positive representation when it comes to black women. So when it comes to black men, we can either we can feed into it and have a bunch of toxic women, have these panels with these toxic women, regurgitating these different talking points and all of that type of stuff. Or, you can use this opportunity to show some women that represent a different spectrum. So that's what I want to start doing. I need to figure out a app, like a live streaming app that I can use where I can record, like where it can be like a phone conversation type of thing. And I wanna have like these discussions with some of my subscribers, some of my soul family members, and it's gonna be the Eshu and whatever goddess that you represent. That's gonna be the name of the podcast. So if me and Jessica or me and Yvette B did a podcast or like a live stream like that, it'll be called the Eshu and Oya conversation. If me and a daughter of Oshun do a live stream, it'll be the Eshu and Oshun conversation. And that's something that I want to start doing, just so we can start, at least on my end. I want to play a part in painting, because black women always say, they always be like, we're not all like that. Some but not all. Some but not all. And a lot of times you don't see a lot of the some in these different conversations. So at least with my platform, and I feel like this is what I've already been doing with the track record of women that I have interviewed and stuff like that. I want to be a part of the sum. When people want to stop looking at all that toxic shit and they want to dig and find the sum that everybody's talking about, I want to be able to provide that platform for the sum. So like I said, I appreciate everybody who for the birthday wishes and all of that type of stuff. Y'all keep me posted on how my audio is sounding. So yeah, when I tell you I got so much stuff, like I've been Grind Mode 3000. I got extremely sick these past couple of months. I was into recording the Shadow Work Ain't Pretty Part 2, which I'm gonna end up renaming it to it's either gonna be the masonry behind show production or the metaphysics of show production. I really want to say the masonry, but I don't want the title to make it shadow banned like my channel already is. So it'll probably be the metaphysics of show production. Because one thing I can say, every time I go through these ascension symptoms, that's what I call it, I get hella downloads. And the downloads that I got with this particular situation, with this particular title is crazy. It's crazy how you can get a macrocosm or a microcosm, what do you call it? A macrocosm. It's crazy how if you're just a someone who observes a lot, it's easy for you to get a macrocosm out of a microcosm. And I feel like if you can't do that in whatever career that you're in or whatever that you're working, especially in the times that we're coming up in now, you got to be real careful about that. Because at the end of the day, I understand that we gotta feed our families and we gotta do all these different things, but especially in this time that we're in now, there's a lot more avenues that are opening up to people who have creative gifts and talents. And that's something that they came down here to do. There once was upon a time to where even with what I'm doing, it was impossible at one point in time. There was a point in time to where if you wanted your music out, you had to be signed to a label. You had to go under these different types of avenues and stuff like that. But the way things are headed to now, things are getting a lot more independent. And what was it, in 2020 I did a live stream and I was talking about how the matrix was crumbling or something like that. That was the last time I did a birthday stream. And now, 3 years later, because we're in 2023, 3 years later, we can kind of see how things are crumbling and what's being built up. So let me see. Am I still good, y'all? Keep me posted. Make sure I'm still good. So I had a bunch of different things that I wanted to do today. I got this room, so I'm able to get some privacy. I'm able to get some peace. Still good? Okay, cool. So at first I wanted to do an on point Orisha Tarot. I had my cards, I had my my table set up. And then I was like, nah, maybe I should give y'all some of the shadow work ain't pretty. Maybe I should give y'all some of that. And then I was like, nah, because we in Gemini, so me being a Gemini, I was extremely indecisive. But actually, what I went through on the way coming here, it kind of gave me a message. And that's pretty much what the title is about. The journey to remembrance. So let me explain to y'all how I came up with this. Because I feel like when you quote unquote wake up to what this world is, when you wake up to what this matrix is, when you wake up to to the setup that I call it, when you wake up to the setup, you understand that the journey is really about remembrance. And the reason why I came up with this is because I kind of got this habit. I kind of have this habit to where, and me me being by myself today, I was able to do some shadow work and realize where this habit came from. So I have this habit of, like, I could be going somewhere for like a day, or like today. I got this room for the day, and if you look at if you look at how I pack my car up, you would think that I'm gonna be gone for like a week, or you would think I'll be gone for like a month. Like, I'm over here, I done brought my keyboard because I'm like, well, maybe I want to make some beats. Then I brought my turntables because I was like, well, I know I want to make some mixes. I brought my monitor. Like, I brought everything. I brought everything with me. And I had to think. I'm like, and I know some of y'all are like that too. Y'all could be going to the grocery store and you carry everything. Especially y'all women with them purses. And I had to think about, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And it's one of the things that I can even think of. I can even think of in my childhood when I used to do this. So sometimes when we have habits like this, I start thinking, I'm like, this is like something that me as a soul, or me, this is something that I've always done. I've always been a type of person that will try to bring everything, try to prepare for the worst, try to prepare for for anything. And so I started to think about my path, and I started to think about me coming here and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? I truly feel like before I came here, like, I prepared myself with everything. Like, I prepared myself with all the tools. I prepared myself with all the different things that I know that I would need in order for me to be on this journey. And then this thought came to mind, and I was like, the craziest part about all of this is when you realize that that you have all these different tools, and that you have everything that you need in order for you to complete your path, but the one thing that you lost was your memory. The one thing that you got everything. Like, you came down here, you was steadfast, you knew exactly what you wanted to do, and you remember, you came down here with everything that you need in order for you to do this path, whatever it is, whatever your path is, whatever it is that that you came down here to do. But the one thing that you didn't think about, the one thing that you lost in all of that, was your memory. You forgot, not only you forgot how to use the tools, but you forgot that you even have them. You forgot that you even have the tools. But so you come into this matrix system that needs your ignorance. You come into this system that needs your ignorance in order for them to stay empowered. The ignorance that not only that you have a purpose, a purpose that is far adjacent to that is far what's the word? You have a purpose that is far removed from empowering their system, and also the thing that they're banking on, because you're pretty much a power bank to their system now. What they're banking on is that you never understand that you have a purpose, and they're banking on the fact that you never understand that you have all the tools that you need in order to make your purpose come true. And they're banking on that you never to explore these tools and learn how to use them, and learn what these tools were meant for you to do, and the power of these tools, and the capacity of these tools, and all this type of stuff. Shout out to my brother Ty Gemini. So you know, my brother Ty, you know, he blessed me with some spliffy you know, something. I ain't had no spliffy in about what, 2 months, about 2 or 3 months, you know. So I get some of that, you know. Now I'm all the way in my mind. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm using this spliffy as a tool, you know. And I go back to when I was a child, because, you know, it's a reason why I am the way I am today, and a lot of it comes from different habits that I had as a child. Some of these habits are you know, things that I had to build on, and that's what makes me you know, as you know, staying out of trouble. This is what keeps me from doing different things that I won't be proud of in the future. Not be something that I want to keep doing, but I got to understand where the origin of these habits come from. So I'm going back into my mind, and I go back to childhood. A child, and he'll be like, you know, we finna just go over there for a few minutes, and then we gonna go back home. And so we go over there, and I'm bored as shit. Like, I'm super bored. You know, it ain't nothing to do. You know, the only thing you can do is just watch TV, and, you know, that's it. And so, you know, it only take me like 1 or 2 times for my dad to steer me wrong, talking about we gonna be over there for, you know, a few minutes, and then we end up over there the whole day. So I'm bored, I'm out of my mind. So I'm like, you know what? The next time I go over grandmama's house, I'm gonna bring all my toys with me. Like, I'm gonna bring all my toys. I'm gonna bring all my favorite toys, so that way, you know, that way, when I go over grandmother's house, I won't be bored. So, you know, next time, you know, next Sunday or whatever, Dad said, oh, we finna go over grandmama's house for a few minutes. What's up, Beauty Dark Side? I appreciate the birthday wish. So, you know, my dad, he's like, oh, we about to go over grandmother's house or whatever. And so this time I bring all my favorite toys. I got a big ass garbage bag full of toys or whatever. So I got these toys. So now when I go over grandmother's house, I'm not bored anymore because I got all my favorite toys with me. But now there's a different issue. There's a different issue that I came across. And the issue was, you know, I started getting to the point where now I got all of these little cousins that's coming over grandmother's house along with me. You know, and so we all in the living room, and I'm straight because I got my toys. I got all my toys, got a big bag of toys, and I'm cool. But now, you know, it's a living room full of other little kids, you know, my cousins, and now they're bored. And so my auntie come in there, you know, my grandmother and my uncles come in there, be like, you know, little Ricky, you know, you got all them toys, and you need to share your toys with your cousins or whatever. And so now, you know, I'm pissed off, you know, because, you know, at this time I'm still an only child, so, you know, I ain't never been in a situation where I gotta share my most intimate possessions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pissed off. I'm like, you know, why I gotta do that? And then it gets to the point where they're like, well, if you don't want to share your toys with your cousins, you can't play with them either. You know, because that ain't right, that you over here and you got all these toys and they sitting over there bored and they ain't got nothing to do. So the thing about it is, you know, with my toys, I knew it like, you know, Virgo, there was like a certain way that I knew how to play with my toys, because of, you know, some of my toys was broke, you know, I had tape, you know, some of the action figures I had the arms taped up. You know, I got my dad's stapler. I stapled some of them together, some of the arms together. Some of them, the head was was taped on with duct tape and all that kind of stuff. So me playing with my own toys, I understood that, some toys I could be aggressive with because I just got it. Some toys, I can't be aggressive with them because, they're a little messed up. I gotta wait till Christmas to get some more toys. Now, my cousins, they don't know about that, and they don't care about that. They're younger than me. They just want some toys to play with. So I'm over here, now I'm in a situation where I gotta share my intimate toys with my cousins, and they're my family, but at the same time, I understand that when they go home, they got their own toys that they can play with. It's me that's gonna be messed up if they play with my toys and they mess them up. And that's exactly what started to happen. They started to, I had to let them play with my toys. They started messing them up. They started tearing them up. And, they was able to go home and play with their own toys. So now I'm coming home. My mama's seeing me sad. Now she arguing at my dad. Now it's an argument every time I come home and all that type of stuff, because I'm sad because I ain't got no toys. All my toys is torn up. And then my mama asked me, why is your toys torn up? What happened? And then I tell them my cousins did it. And now my mom is yelling at my dad and, all that kind of stuff. So then, I got tired of that. I got tired of my toys getting messed up. So then I started to kind of revise that. So then it got to the point where now when I go over grandmother's house, I only bring like a couple toys with me, not enough that I gotta share, like a couple toys with me. And these aren't toys that I really care too much about, so I don't care if they break. Like, I don't care if anything happens to these toys. And then on top of that, Saturn, my Saturn is in Aquarius in the 5th house. So on top of that, now I got this briefing that my dad gives me before I go over my grandmother's house. He see me putting my toys in my pocket, and he give me this briefing. He like, now your mama told you not to bring them toys over my mama house, because you crying and acting like somebody messing with you and all that kind of stuff. So you getting them toys, you put them in your pocket. Now you bring them at your own risk. I don't want to hear you hollering and crying, and I don't want to hear you telling your mama nothing about somebody that messed up your toys, because now you understand, what you're up against when you go over there. So if something happened to your toys or whatever, it's nobody's fault but yours. So now I got this Saturn, I got this Saturn in Aquarius ringing through my head as I'm with these toys. So now it's to the point where, I got the toys in my pocket, but I barely take them out my pocket. So I got them, and I play with them a little bit, but for the most part, it's like I should have never bought them, because I'm scared to take them out. Y'all gonna understand why I'm telling y'all this story. It gets to the point where y'all, I'm scared to take my toys out now. I only got, toys that I don't really care too much about. I'm scared to take them out or whatever. And in my mind, that warning that my dad told me, in my mind, that keep on playing in my mind. And so it got to the point where the older I got, the more fragile and the more sensitive my quote unquote toys started to get. See, when I was a kid, I had action figures and stuff like that. And then those action figures turned into portable games. Then the portable games turned into console games. And then the console games turned into cell phone and all of that. So now I'm in a different age. Now I'm in a different age, and I'm a senior in high school. You know, I'm not playing with action figures no more. You know, I got a PlayStation now, and I'm not unhooking that PlayStation and bringing it to grandmother's house. You know, that's out. You know, I've developed a discipline. You know, I've developed a discipline from when I was a child. You know, I'm to the point now to where I got this thing called delayed gratification, to where I'm patient now. You know, I can go to an area, you know, understanding in my mind that this is just going to be a temporary uncomfortability. You know, me going over grandmother's house is going to be a temporary uncomfortability, and the toys that I got, they're too sensitive, or you know, the things that I got at home is way too sensitive for me to bring it to my grandmother's house and it get torn up and I'm okay about it. You know, it took me years to get my first PS2. You know, it took me years to, you know, because my mom and dad, they ain't really have it like that financially. So, you know, I'll be lucky if I get a new game every Christmas. You know, I might get a new game on my birthday or whatever. So the little stuff, it got to the point where the little stuff that I did had, you know, it's almost like I guarded it with my life. You know, so you know, I've developed this discipline. I've developed this, you know, this patience and all of this stuff, and it's gotten to the point now that I'm in the age to where all of those things are now in one thing, in a cell phone. You know, all of those things are in a cell phone now. So this was senior year in high school. You know, I was messing with this chick. You know, I was always, the thing about it is with me, like I always loved older women. I always liked older girls. Like even when I was in school, you know, I'm in the 10th grade. I'm messing with somebody that's a senior, or I remember I was in the 9th grade and I was messing with this chick and she was in the 11th grade, you know. And then I ended up having this cousin on my dad's side, and she was like a popular girl in school and stuff like that. And you know, just me being cool with her, you know, now I'm able to talk to her friends. So I'm over here. So, you know, I done linked up with this older chick while I'm in school, and she give me a phone, you know. So now, you know, I got a phone. I got it wasn't like a sidekick. It wasn't like one of those T-Mobile sidekicks. It was one of those other type of phones, like the clamshell phone. I forgot what you call them, but it was like it flipped up. It had a keyboard at the bottom, and it had a screen at the top. And then when you close the phone, it had a screen right there. I forgot what you call those phones, but that was the phone I had. So, you know, and back in those days, you know, you was that nigga in school when you had a phone that had internet on it. You know, because back then that was something that was phones just started getting, you know. So I got this cell phone. My mom and dad did not like me having this phone. You know, even though this was a super, like, you know, this is like I'm over here in La La Land, you know, with this phone at this point. So my senior year in high school, I learned a different lesson. So now I got this phone, and it's something that my mom and dad really didn't approve of me having, and all that type of stuff. So now there's a different, not only is if something happened to it, you can't say nothing to them. you know, it was something else I had to learn. So I went over to my grandmother's house. I got this phone. What's up, the true 57? What's good? Said happy birthday, my Gemini brother. What's good with you? So, let me see. Let me know if my audio's still good. I made a mistake and did something. Let me see. Okay, I'm still good. Okay. So my cousin, one of my little cousins ended up sitting on my phone by mistake and broke it. So now I'm pissed off because I'm like, damn, I did good all the way up until this time. Now I'm pissed off, because I already kind of, another thing that I had to learn as a child, about accepting your fate. Even though I was pissed off. So there was this beauty supply store next to our house, and this beauty supply store had a cell phone repair shop in there. So I took my phone to the cell phone repair shop, and dude was like, yeah, it won't cost nothing but like $60 to fix your phone. Gave me a golden case to it, showed it to me. He's like, yeah, it's fixed. You give me like $60 and you can have it, Now, mind you, my mom and dad had that $60, 2-3 times over. They had it. They had it to give to me. But since they was already pissed off that that I had the phone to begin with, it was like talking to a brick wall, trying to ask them to give me the $60 that I needed in order for me to get it. So, I had to eat that. So this was when I was 17. So it took me like another year. I started working at FedEx, got another phone, and the rest is history. So now in my adult age, when I'm preparing for things, when I'm getting ready for stuff, I got all of these voices in my head of, different warnings and different things that I went through as a child, and that's the reason why I've been able to have different things that I've had for a long time, without them getting stolen, because I'm just not all out with it, without I don't let people borrow my stuff, no matter if I know them or not, especially if it's something that if I let you borrow it and you mess it up, I don't have the money or I don't have the means to replace it. That's one of my biggest pet peeves now because of something that happened when I was young. So I started to think, when it comes to a lot of the gifts and talents that we have, a lot of the different tools, the gifts and talents, they start off as gifts and talents, but we don't understand that if we're able to hold on to these things and we grow with these things into our adulthood, these gifts and talents turns into tools for your path. A lot of these things that we call gifts and talents, raw talent, when we get older, if we're able to hold on to these things when we get older, these things turn into tools for our path. But like I said, it's a journey of remembrance, and in a lot of ways, shadow work plays a part in it. Because just like me, having this, because it's one thing that my dad always says, and he even say this to this day. He's like, and a lot of the reason why I carry so much stuff and I got this you never know type of attitude, because my dad always says it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And I've been in a lot of situations in my life where I needed things, but I didn't have it. And not only I needed things and I didn't have it, but I needed things, I didn't have it, and either I didn't have anyone around me who would be able to either supply me with the resources needed to get that, or it was a situation where I was surrounded by people who had it, but they had the same mentality that I have, so they had it, but they wouldn't let me use it. So, the journey to remembrance. So now we gotta, so now, we got these different things. Think about it. As a kid, especially if you're a boy, why do you think that, as a boy, the first thing that you gravitate towards are action figures? Mars, action, figures of action. And then when you think about the girls, the little girls, the first thing that they get exposed to are dolls, and these dolls, they don't do no kind of action. These dolls don't do no kind of action. They just lay there, they just sit there and look pretty. That's all the dolls do. They don't do nothing. A lot of them, they can't even move their hands. A lot of them, they can't even move their legs. It's just a stationary doll. And the purpose of the doll is to just sit somewhere and look pretty. And then you got some dolls where all you do is, like do his hair, do his makeup, comb his hair, all that type of stuff. And then you think about that girl that plays with dolls, and a lot of times what she grows up into, if certain things in that programming aren't tweaked to maturity, they turn into a doll. They got this mentality to where they just wanna sit around. That's their dream. Their dream is to be the doll that they were introduced to as a child. Have y'all peeped that? Think about us as kids. Think about us as guys. The first thing that you get, you might get a spaceship. You might get a action figure, and this action figure has joints, and they can use their hands, they can use their arms. You can mold them. You can make them do different scenarios. All of these different things. Now, what does that turn into as an adult when we talk about men? When we grow up into men as boys, when we grow up into men, we have to learn how to control ourselves, just like we have to control that action figure. It's called self-control. Have y'all peeped that? That's the main thing we have to learn, as men. We learn that we learn that our actions have consequences. Just like when you have an action figure, you learn real quick that some action figures, their hands don't bend back, their arm don't bend all the way back. It'll snap. You learn real quick as a as a little boy playing with that action figure. You learn real fast that leg don't go like that. Because if you put too much stress on that leg and it bend a way that it's not supposed to go and it snap. Now, I don't know about y'all, but you know, I grew up like middle to lower class, you know, so if I mess that toy up, I'm not really getting no more toys till Christmas. And it's September. It's June. You know? So what you gotta do when you're broke? When you got a toy and it's broke, you know, you gotta learn how to make it work. You see all these things that we learned as a kid, just playing with toys. You know, when you're broke, you gotta learn how to take what you got and you gotta learn how to make it work. Or if you was a smart kid, you learn how to hustle. You know, if you was a smart kid and you messed up your toys, you know, as men, we have to learn self-control. We got to understand that everything don't work the way we want it to all the time. You know, we have to learn, we have to understand that if we put too much stress in the area of a person and they snap, we got to be ready for whatever consequences come with that. You know, and when it comes to men, you know, the older you get, the more you don't want to talk. You just want to act. We're action figures. The older you get and somebody is pushing that button and they stressing you out and you keep telling them like, yo, leave me the fuck alone, dog. Hey, dog. Hey, yo, I told you that's a sensitive spot. You know, just let's change the subject. Let's not talk about that. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I've had a hard day at work. You know, I've been working my body to the bone at this job. You know, I've been doing whatever. Like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. And then you say that one last thing. You do that one last thing, and then you snap. And what happened when you snap? You black out. You know, you snap. You black out. You end up doing something that will end you up in a restricted or a broken situation. Because, you know, as a black man, once you get that felony on your record, you damn near screwed at that point. You know? How many of not one of your toys and you went and got some screws and you went and got some staples and some tape, you know, trying to make it work, you know, trying to put yourself back together after you done snapped. You know when I have these conversations with y'all, I'm always going through multiple dimensions because I'm just showing you how, you know, this journey to remembrance is gonna help you to understand not only why certain things had to be the way they are as a child. You know, you got to understand why you do certain things. You got to understand why you have certain habits. You got to understand why you have certain tastes. You know, you got to understand why you decide to you got to understand why you gravitate. That's the word. You got to understand why you gravitate to certain things. It all comes from childhood, but it's a remembrance. You got to remember. You know, you got to remember where these urges and where these things come from. You know? Because I'm talking about action figures. You know, you learn as kids, you know, at least with us coming up, not the kids in the next generation, in this the generation that's coming up, you know, the ones that's coming up now, but I'm talking about in the generation of the kids that grew up in the 90s and the kids that grew up in the 80s where we had action figures. You know, when you became a man, that's what you aspired to be. You aspired to be a figure that is about that action. You know, and someone that a type of action figure that someone would want to treasure and someone would want to use. You know, that's what we grow up What's up, know thyself? What's good with you? You know, that's what we grow up subconsciously to be as guys. You know. And like I said, you know, we find out as guys, you know, some of us, when we were broken, you know, when we had these toys and they were broken and they were broke, you know, you just had to find a way to make it work. And that's it. You know, you just took what you had around you, you accepted your defeat, you know, you accepted the situation, and you just made it work. But then you had another group of people, another group of boys. They decided that they was gonna hustle. You know, a lot of times these boys, you know, they didn't come up in a super strict upbringing. You know, they had a hole, whether they didn't have a dad, you know, whether they didn't have a divine masculine, they didn't have a dad in their life, so they can you know, sneak out that way. You know, their mom was always at work, so they didn't have that divine feminine around or whatever. You know, so now as a kid, now you got to learn about hustling. Now, depending on how creative you are, because all of this goes into me talking about gifts and talents and all that type of stuff. You know, the tools that you're gonna need in order for you to understand why you came here, so you can get on your mission. It's very simple. You know, it's very simple. So you learn how to hustle. You know, you learn what they say, life make lemons, you make a lemonade stand. You know, some people they got creative and they made a lemonade stand. They used the earth. You know, they used the earth, the resources of the earth, and cook food. Or, you know, you had some kids, you know, they were selling candy. You know, they were selling chips. They were selling honey buns. You know, they were selling cinnamon rolls. They were selling drinks. You know, all that type of stuff. Now, depending on how low your level of creativity was, you know, you either did that or you just said, fuck it. I see somebody else that got the same toy I got, I'ma just take it. So you become a robber. You know, you got some people, they like, well, you know, there's some strict consequences to me taking somebody's stuff, especially if I'm just walking up to them, yo, give me your stuff. You know, not everybody gonna take that lying down. So some of us, you know, we learned how to, you know, be a little bit more discreet with it. You know, now what I'm showing you too, all of these different paths that we start to go on as a kid, like all of these different paths, it takes a certain level of intelligence. It takes a certain level of intelligence because, you know, even if you're a robber, it only take, you know, and I'm talking like back in the day, not now, but you know, back in the day where we used to fight, where we actually used to fight. You know, it only take one good time for you to get your ass beat trying to rob somebody, and they end up whooping your ass because you're trying to rob them. You know, it only take one time for you to go through that, and now your credibility in the hood is shot. Your credibility in that school is shot, and now you got to do twice as much in order to get that fear again. So, you know, so you get a little bit more intelligent, and you start scoping out like, okay, you know, this person, you know, and when you kind of think about it, as a kid, you're learning how to read auras a little bit. You're learning how to read energy a little bit, you know, because a bully knows who he can bully. You know, you don't just bully anybody. Like that bullyable person, he has to have some type of stench on him. Like, he got to have some type of energy. He got to have some type of stench on him. Like, yeah, this person right here, if I rob him and take his stuff, he not gonna fight back. He just gonna, start crying and calling for his mommy, and everybody gonna laugh at him and all that type of stuff. So we get to the point where you start using your intelligence and you start learning how to read auras. Like, okay, this person right here, he's kind of nervous, he's kind of shaky, he's kind of fidgety, he's not respected. He's not respected in the class, and he kind of comes from I can tell that he comes from a family that gives him a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna just take it, and I already know he's not gonna do nothing. So it even takes a lot of intelligence for you to start doing that. And then you got the other side. So these are the people, these people, they learn like how to stake people out. They learn how to stake people out because they want to be discreet. Like, they don't want you to know. When you understand nature of a thing, you know what it is capable of. Yeah, that's true. You're right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So, it get to a point where you develop this sense where you start learning how to detect patterns. Now, it's crazy, right? It's crazy how these are things that's looked at as evil to you think this is all like mischievous stuff. Y'all thinking that this is evil, y'all thinking that this is mischievous, but the same things that I'm showing you right now are the same things that if this is something that you've been doing since you were a kid, and now you're a pro at it as an adult, the government got a nice little job for you. It's called the Secret Service. The Secret Service, they got a record of the kids who knew who to rob. Like, they knew exactly who to rob. Like, the government, they got a Rolodex of these kids, and one day if these kids learn how to be more and more successful with their attempts without going to jail and stuff like that, they might end up hitting them up with a deal they can't refuse. But I'm showing you, this is how it starts. A lot of these things, little things that you used to do as a kid, you don't understand that these are actually some hidden talents. You just wasn't taught how to use them in a conventional way. You just wasn't taught how to use it in a conventional way. So this other person, this other kid, he don't want to do nothing creative. But one thing that he's learning about how to read people's patterns. Like, okay, this is the type of person, he know how to read different details. Virgo, he knows how to read different little details that he can exploit. Details that he can use to deceive. Different details to where, like, okay, I want that Game Boy he got. See, he the type of person where, he's so trustworthy. He the type of person, when it's time to go to lunch, he leave his Game Boy in his desk. He don't take it with him, to the lunchroom. Like, he's the type of person to where, I see he got that toy, I see he got that that game or whatever. I see he got it in his backpack. He always leave his backpack beside the desk. He only take his Game Boy out, when the teacher not looking. So, but he's the type of person where, he can zone out when the teacher's talking, to the point where, if I can be real stealthy with it, I can actually slip the bag from under his desk, and I can reach in that side pocket and unzip that pocket, and I can get it. And as long as everybody else around me is in on it, because they don't got no Game Boy, so they mad because he won't let them play it. So you see how a mischievous mind can think. I'm Eshu as well. So I'm just giving you a little insight on how mischievous a person's mind can get. But when you get older, and if you can learn how to use this to your advantage, you can know when some trouble is about to arise in an environment before everybody else do, and you can get out of dodge. See, as an issue, these are certain things that we have to learn, because a lot of times, we don't like getting picked on. We don't like having to fight all the time and all of that. So we have to learn some more smart, non-conventional ways to still do mischievous things and it never come back on us. So you like a lion, or you like a panther. You just stalking your prey. They don't know you're stalking them because you somewhere in the tall grass. You somewhere like, okay, I got it planned out. I'm gonna ask the teacher when it's time for lunch. I'm gonna ask the teacher like, can I do some extra credit? I'm my grades is a little crazy. My dad is kind of getting on me. Is there any way I can do some extra credit while everybody else is at lunch? Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. Cool. So now I'm in the classroom right next to dude's desk. So I can just go and get it right quick, and he won't know. I'm like, man, the janitor did it. I don't know. So again, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about the journey to remembrance. That's what a lot of us like when you do this, all of this, consciousness, all of this waking up, all of this stuff. And it's not this because one thing I always thought when it came to like waking up, and when it comes to like coming into consciousness, like I was thinking that this light bulb was gonna go off, and I was just gonna, I don't know. You have these crazy videos on YouTube, and these people telling you all of this stuff, and all it is just you're aware of all the bullshit that you've been doing. That's pretty much it. It's just a heightened awareness. That's all it is. That's all it is when you're becoming conscious. You just have a heightened awareness of all the bullshit that you're doing. So now, especially if you're someone that's created a whole social media, you created a whole avatar about being woke and about being conscious and all of this. So now you got one or two ways that you can go. Either A, you learn about these habits, and you learn about these different urges and these different things that you have, and you learn how to how to convert these things as tools, for your path. Or B, you're just a aware nigga that's still doing bullshit, and you end up turning into a scammer, a conscious scammer. You end up turning into something that once you're found out, because you will get found out, you end up turning into something that once you get found out, the punishment is going to be way more than a school suspension. Your punishment is going to be way more than juvenile. Your punishment is going to be way more than you getting a whooping when you get home. you know. So that's one of the main things that um that I've been really thinking about. I've really been doing a different type of shadow work. You know, it's to the point now where I don't say anymore. Like, I remember when I used to go to sleep and I would try to get messages and stuff like that. I'll be like, higher self, you know, ancestors, uh, you know, all of this stuff. And I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. If you really wanna understand, if you really wanna, because right now, AI is taking over. You know, that's the new thing that's taking over. And all this is trying to get you away from something that you can do naturally, and it's putting your trust in something that's outside of what you do naturally. And there's a limitation. There's a blatant limitation with it. What's up, Ashley Williams? I appreciate that. Also, as you all know, the donation link is at the top. It's pinned at the top. If you wanna help your brother out with something, you know, I appreciate it. Anything helps. And I appreciate that too. The truth. Dang. I gotta figure out where I was at. So, you know, let me see where I was at. Somebody let me know where I was at. I'm over here looking at y'all, give me these birthday wishes. I definitely appreciate y'all. But yeah, so it got to a point where I just stopped saying, you know, spirit guides, you know, spirit, like all that type of stuff. I appreciate that. So it just got to a point where before I went to sleep, I would say subconscious mind. I would program my subconscious mind. That's what I was saying. I was saying what the thing that I'm telling y'all that y'all can do is something that that AI is trying to replace, because all of these different things you already have inside of you. You know, it's not only it's not only called Akashic record, but there's also I feel like we have a highly advanced database, and I don't really know how to explain it, but we have a highly advanced metaphysical database that we can tap into ourselves. Like, we got so many stuff. We got so much stuff that our bodies can do. So many things that our minds can tap into. And it's real simple. You know, it's real simple. All you need is to make sure you have enough water in your system and make sure you have enough sleep. That's it. If you can do those two things, you know, cut down on the processed foods, you know, cut down on things that's gonna make your body have to work overtime to get out of your system. You know, damn, if I'm talking about school suspension, that mean it's lagging. It's behind. But you know, all you need is to drink some good water, like some alkaline water, some spring water, you know. And I appreciate that, Sister Nay. I appreciate that. Give me 1 second so I can give my homeboy this link, because I'm about to go in now. I can feel it. I feel it. I feel the faith. Okay. So, like I said, it says it in the Bible: water, sun, and love. Water, sun, and love. That's all you need. You need to get out in the sun. You just need to drink a lot of water, and you need sleep. That's it. And when I say sleep, I mean sleep to where you can clear your mind. Tim's free mind. If you can free your mind while you're asleep, like listen to a binaural beat. There's so many of them on YouTube. Once you learn what these different frequencies mean and all that type of stuff, you can get real advanced with it. You can you can talk to different chakras in your body and be like, okay, subconscious mind, I want my heart to send me a message about something. And then go on YouTube, listen to 639 hertz. It's a green binaural beat, and it helps you with your heart. It helps to stimulate your heart chakra. And then go to sleep. Make sure you can get into a deep sleep. The sleep part is really important because it's a certain type of sleep that you gotta get into. You gotta be able to get into that type of sleep to where it's what I would advise you to do is to set your alarm to 4 or 5 in the morning. Go to sleep at around 10 or 11. Set your alarm to 4 or 5 in the morning so that when you wake up with that alarm, you're in between worlds. See, this is a science. I'm giving it's my birthday, but I'm giving y'all gifts. I'm giving y'all gifts because this is what I did, and I'm gonna give y'all some some testimonies on what this did for me. So, you drank a whole bunch of water. You drank a lot of water before you went to bed, and sometimes this helps out too because, you gotta pee. You gotta get up at night and pee. And sometimes they can help you out because, a lot of times, you when you get up and you go to the bathroom and you pee and you get back in the bed, it's like as soon as you lay your head on the pillow, you're already feeling this feeling like, oh, I'm about to go down, I'm about to go down. As soon as you feel that feeling like I'm about to go down, that's when you ask. Subconscious mind. And then just the same thing that you would Google. Ask your subconscious mind. I appreciate that. So ask your subconscious mind. Now, a lot of spiritualists, they will say to make sure you have a dream journal, so that when you wake up, you can write down the dream that you just had. In my situation, my dream can leave me so fast. By the time I'm trying to write it down, it's already gone. So what I do, I either have a trusted soul family member, and this is funny. This is crazy how this works in my life. I just have a random soul family member that I just hit up and tell them my dream. And I just make a voice note like, yo, I'm just waking up. Let me tell you this dream I had. Da 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 da. And it'd be funny that, and then I'll go back to sleep. Because a lot of times, if it's not too sunny outside, when I go back to sleep, I'm having another dream. A lot of times when I finally get up for the day and I talk to that soul family member, a lot of times my dream would be an answer that they've been looking for. So yeah, they'll be able to decode it for me and let me know what's going on. Because a lot of times I might have the first half of it, and then they might have the second half of it. It's called a network. This is how you're supposed to network with your soul family, and this is how you really get shit done. Like, this is how you really get shit done, you know? And this is why building a network with soul family is very important. This is very important, you know? So I'm gonna give you an example. Because when you have these dreams, and it's very key. It's very key, you know. With me, it's a certain herbal drink that I drink. I make it every night before I go to sleep. It's a tea that I make. It got hibiscus and it got different herbs in it. And these different herbs, it helps me to be able to stay in the dream long enough so that I can remember all the details in the dream. So that when I wake up, I'm remembering faces. You know, a lot of people, they don't remember the faces of the people. A lot of people, they don't remember like different faces in their dream. You know, a lot of people, they don't remember different little details and stuff like that in the dream. I'm telling every single detail, you know, and this never fails. So I got the mugwort. I don't have the blue lotus. I don't got the blue lotus, but I do got the mugwort, and that is one of the herbs that I put in my tea that I drink right before I go to bed. And this shit knocks me out. Like, it's more powerful than the Unisons, if you tell me. It got star anise in it, and I kid you not, it's like when I'm going into that deep sleep, and I say, subconscious mind, what is this? Or subconscious mind, teach me this. Or subconscious mind, let me know about this. As soon as I close my eyes, I start seeing these sacred geometry. I think it's called the Metatron cube. I start seeing like little Metatron cubes. That's how it starts. And then after the Metatron cubes, I start seeing images, like somebody like going through a book, like a picture book. And I'm just seeing images, and all of a sudden I'm somewhere else. You know? And it happens so fast to the point where I'm still lucid. I'm like, oh shit, wait, you know, where am I? I'm in a dream. Like, okay. And then it cuts off because, you know, certain things have to play out in the dream so you can understand what's going on. You know, so with me, I get lucid for a second just so I can understand, like, okay, I'm in a dream. And then I turn into observer mode. And then I start doing whatever it is that I'm supposed to do in the dream. But everything that I'm doing in the dream is a symbol. Everything I'm doing in the dream is a symbol. And so a lot of times what I do, because, you know, a lot of times my little brother has to go to work in the morning. So it gives me an excuse to be out in the sun in the morning. You know, so I'm driving, and a lot of times, you know, like they say, when you're driving, especially if you're driving and you know where you're going, where you don't got to look at your GPS, a lot of times your mind starts to go into trance. It's like your body goes into self-driving autopilot mode. And so I'm in my thoughts, and I'm hearing my subconscious mind tell me, like, okay, so after you woke up, this is the second part of the dream. So now you got to be in a situation to, when you wake up, you can get out in the sun and do like a morning meditation where you can sit with yourself and keep playing back the dream that you've had, and it's like a juicer. It's like a juicer. The question that you asked is like the fruit, and then the juicing process is the dream. So now, you know, when you wake up, you know, you telling the symbols in your dream back to yourself, telling that back to yourself, and you start to understand, like, okay, so this means this. It's like an equation. X means A, X means 8. You know, X X plus B equals C. X means 8, B means 2, and then C means 10. Okay, I got it. I understand now. I got it. And the beautiful thing about these type of dreams is, like, if you can learn how to keep these dreams in your head to the point where you can keep on playing them back. Every time you play it back and you go about your day, you learn something new. Every time you go back and listen to that dream, you find out something new. Call it food for thought. I have a visual on this. Yes, that's beautiful. And I'm just telling you my experience. I ain't joined no class to learn this. I think the two people that I heard say something about it is Bobby Hemmett. He talked about it. Brother Panic, he talked about different books and stuff like that. I'm to the point now where I don't need the book. I just need the method. If you can just give me the method, I don't need the book, because I can get my own understanding out of it. I don't want somebody else's understanding about it. I just need the method so I can get my own understanding. So listen to what I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't y'all see how much freedom and how much time that you need to have in order to really do this? Don't you see, like, how much freedom? Don't you see how much freedom that you need to have to where you can have the resources for the herbs? You got the knowledge for the herbs. You got to be free enough to where you can go to sleep at a certain time of night without being interrupted. You got to have the type of life situation to where you can go into a deep sleep where you feel safe. It is not going to work. This is not going to work if you can't go deep into sleep because you're scared that somebody's going to knock on your door, or you're scared that your kids are something gonna happen to your kids, or you can't have that on your mind and try to go and do this. And then you can't have no type of drama when you wake up in the morning to the point where now you got to deal with this drama, and now you done forgot everything you dreamed about. It's like, damn, like, your subconscious mind told you everything that you needed to know, but you got a nagging girl, or you got a nagging husband, or you got some undisciplined kids. Oh no, I gotta get up. Oh, what's going on? What's wrong? By the time you done got your kids straight, you done forgot the dream. Like, damn. So I'm also showing you the matrix that we're in that keeps you distracted to the point where it's hard for you to do this. Gemini, last time I checked, the sun was in Gemini, the moon was in Cancer. So with me, this was a left eye situation. Left eye, shout out to Left Eye, because she was a Gemini, Cancer moon. This was almost like a there's no place like home situation. Because even though I would, I learned a special routine and pattern for me to do this, even when I was in my truck, even when I was traveling, even when I was on the road, but it took me a lot of extra tools in order for me to get this same result, where now I'm at home and I'm able to do it with just a natural tea. When I'm in my truck or when I'm on the road, I gotta have unisoms. I gotta take unisoms. I gotta have a spliffy. I gotta have some indica. Like I gotta damn near, it's like you're holding the reset button on your computer to make it shut down. Because I'm always thinking, can you go over the steps again? I am, because you always You always thinking about is somebody gonna knock on the door, or is somebody, my mind is always on, you know get up and go mode. you know that's that's some of those traits of being Eshu, being in the forest, being in nature. Any little bump in the night, it wakes me up, because you don't know if there's a predator that you need to be alert. So the truth said, can you go over the steps again? So this is all you really need to do. First, and the thing about it is, it's like you got to retrain yourself to do this, because we're so used to just typing something in on Google, or just typing something in and it just pops out. It just pops out, what it is that you want to do or whatever. So the first thing, you gotta know in your mind without a shadow of a doubt that this is what I want. This is something that's weighing heavy on my mind. This is something that's weighing heavy on my heart. Me, it's gotten to the point now when I'm doing this, I've tried everything. I tried saying my ancestors. I tried saying, now another thing, this is a little more advanced. But I'm showing you this because you don't really need all of this other stuff for real. But a little more advanced thing is to go to sleep. The last thing that you look at before you go to sleep is a veve. Say you're working with the orishas, and it's something about prosperity that you're trying to get. It's something about abundance. It's something about your divine creative energy that you're trying to learn. Like, it's not that you're trying to ask for someone else to do something for you, but it's like, what is something that's inside of me that's creative, that can bring about a fertility of resources or whatever. And so, I know dealing with the orishas, I can go to Oshun for that. Now, in my case, I've created my own thing called the baby Oshun. So now, I got to be a little bit more in my childlike innocence in order to decode this, but this message is going to be a lot more pure because I'm talking about the baby Oshun. So before I go to sleep, I'm looking at my veve before I go to sleep, and I'm still asking, whatever the question is. So that's one way, but the way I was saying it earlier, you got this in your mind, and you really, this is something that you're really trying to get answered, and you got to know that you know that you know. It's like stepping into the throne with grace. In the Bible, when it says step to the throne with grace, it's just talking about when you're talking to your subconscious mind, you got to talk to them in a bold way. You got to talk to your mind in a bold way. So what I would do, I would ask my subconscious mind, I will go to sleep. I'll probably go to sleep at around like 10:30, 11. Now, I don't do this. A lot of times I go to sleep a lot later, but it's just because I always have problems sleeping anyway. And set your alarm to a witching hour, which is like 3 in the morning. Set your alarm to like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, or something like that. Now, before you go to sleep, drink some water. Drink a lot of water. Make sure you flushing your system out. Drink a lot of water. If you gotta shit, go ahead and do that. Release them demons. So that you can get the message. Drink you a lot of water before you go to sleep. Me, I drink a herbal tea that has hibiscus, mugwort, different herbs in it that can assist me with recording, with being lucid in my dreams. There are also crystals that you can put under your pillow, but if you don't have all of that, I'm just giving you the bare bones. If you don't have none of that, you can still do this and get what you're trying to get. You don't need really none of this shit because it's all inside of you anyway. So drink some water, and when you get up, if you do this right, you're going to get up anyway in the middle of the night so you can pee. And a lot of times when you get up to pee, you're already kind of groggy, you like half sleep, you're in between worlds anyway. When that alarm wakes you up, you're already in between worlds anyway. So you only need to do this like one time. And the more you get good at this, you can keep doing it and ask multiple questions before you got to get up for the day. That's the key, So as when you go to the bathroom and you go back to bed and you lay down on your pillow, you're going to feel this overwhelming feeling like, yo, I'm finna go. Like it's as soon as I close my eyes, it's going to be a wrap. It's over. I'm done. So as soon as you about to close your eyes and go back under, say subconscious mind, and whatever question that you need answered, just ask it in the ethers. Just ask it. Subconscious mind, what is this? Subconscious mind, should I do this? Subconscious mind, what are the steps? I always say, what are the steps that I need to do to prepare for this or whatever? And that's when you get into recording mode, because now you're about to have a real specific dream. This dream might not last none but like what, an hour? It might last like 15-20 minutes. It might last 30 minutes. But when you wake up from that dream, you need to keep doing this to the point where you can remember your dreams. That's the thing. Now with me, I have a random soul family member that I hit up and I'll be like, yo, I just had a dream about this, and I just say it. Because once I say it out my mouth, I'm automatically remember it when I wake up again. And say when you wake up from this dream, you still got some time to play with where you can go back to sleep and ask for something else. So go do the same thing again. So now the next step, you got your dream. This is like this is like you getting a zip file airdrop to you. And now you gotta click on it. You gotta decompress it. And now you gotta open up the file, the decompressed file, and look at everything inside of it and put it where it's supposed to go. So that's the next step. So this is you got to go out in the sun to do this. A lot of times you got to go out in the sun, because a lot of times your body will wake you up a lot of times right before the sun is really about to get hot, and that's your cue to go outside and get that information. Now if you can go outside barefoot, go outside barefoot. If you can go outside next to a tree, if you can go outside next to a tree, go outside next to a tree. Touch that tree and really get the download. And while you're outside, you're replaying that dream in your mind. And you're now you gotta take away you gotta convert it. It's like you gotta convert it. You gotta take the symbols in the dream and you gotta learn how to convert it. And then if you've been doing your spiritual work, then you should have some tools available to you where you can back it up. You can fact check your own, you can fact check your own mind, because as above, so below. So, just so you can, understand that you're not bugging because of this dream, you can take what you've converted and you can go to your natal chart, or you can pull some tarot cards, or you can, do whatever your divination is for you. And you can go and fact check it. Just like when you get something on Google and you got all these different websites, and you go to the one that's the most safest, the one that's the most fact checked, the one that's the most peer reviewed. You know, so what's the most peer reviewed thing that you can do? Look at your natal chart. You know, see, this is where you got to study and show yourself approved. This is where you got to do the shadow work. Because what if you had a dream, you ask your subconscious mind something, and then you have a dream about something that gave you trauma. And it's like your mind is trying to tell you, like, okay, there's something in this that's answering your question, but you can't keep this image in your mind because it's still giving you trauma in your mind. You know? So now there's a huge part of the dream that you can't even get. There's a huge part of the dream that you can't even get because there's still shadow work that you need to do. You know, you get what I'm saying? You know? Or you have a situation to where you know, something happens in the dream, and it's like a real big thing because this real big thing had to happen in order for you to remember the dream. But you don't understand that even this real big thing that you dreamed about, this needs to be broken down too. You know? And a lot of times, you know, you don't have to go, a lot of times you don't have to really go online. I understand if you got to do it, like say you had a dream about a blue bird or something. Shoot, you go on Google and you type in, what does this mean having a blue bird in my dream? Oh, a blue bird means that you're about to be wealthy. Or a blue bird in your dream means that your spirit guides are with you. Like, man, what kind of, man, how is that gonna help me? Like, what? You know? But if you take that blue bird and you go back and you do shadow work and you're like, okay, the last time I remember seeing a blue bird, it was this type of situation that happened to me as a child. And then this is going to take you on a journey to remembrance. This is going to take you on a journey to remembrance. And so now you can put that in its rightful place in your answer. Y'all get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give y'all an example because I've been doing this. Like every time I be giving y'all these little methods, and I got a lot more. I'm working on building my Patreon back up. You know, so I'm gonna be giving y'all a lot more methods, a lot more stuff. If you're still on my Patreon, you can just ask me in there, and I'll just give you the method. I got so many methods that I done came up with doing this path, and you know, and I still got more. I got more. You know, this is just one that I came up with not too long ago. So, you know, I tested it out. So I did what I was telling y'all to do. I said, subconscious mind, what is a hidden talent that I have? And with this hidden talent, it's going to help me transcend this reality that I'm in, and to help me gain prosperity in my life. That's what I asked my subconscious mind. I said, what is a hidden gift or a hidden talent that I'm not too, it's something that I do, but I'm not really aware of it, but it's a hidden talent. And if I can hone this and I can use this the right way, it's going to help me with my prosperity. It's going to help me with transcending this current reality into a reality that's more desirable to me. You know? So this is what I asked. This is what I asked my subconscious mind. And so Gemini, I had two dreams. And so so the first dream, I was back at the club in Orlando, and I wasn't doing security, I was doing something else. Cause one of my homeboys, he's like head of security now, and I was one of the people at the club that I worked at. I didn't get in no fights. Um, I had a real good rapport with everybody. So even though I had to leave and go to Miami, um, you know, certain people that I treated right are in high places now. So they like, yo, man, you can come back whenever. And when you come back, it's not gonna be like the way you left. Because you was cool. You was one of the cool guys that worked with us. You know. So in this dream, I'm back working, and so I remember I had to have a long sleeve shirt, and in this dream I had on this long sleeve white corduroy type of shirt, and it was dirty on one side. One side it was real dusty, and it was dirty because I was working in it or whatever. Now, in this dream, these particular type of shirts is what's in. So, it was kind of like the Yeezys. Like if you had some Yeezys on at one point in time, you damn near get robbed for them joints. So, and it was a certain type of slang in my dream that they was using. It was a certain type of slang. It was like in this world where they say it's lit. In my dream, you say, hey, man, he got that furniture. He got that Burlington Coat Factory with the furniture. I don't know why. Like, don't quote me on this, but in my dream, that was equivalent of saying whatever you got on is fresh. Like it's dope. Like it's hot. You gotta say, man, you got that Burlington Coat Factory with the furniture, man. That's what in my dream, that's what it meant to say that you was lit or whatever. So in this dream, it was this chick, she was super enamored with my shirt because I had on like a shirt that was popular. Now me, mind you, I got this shirt from Goodwill. It was dirty, it was dingy, but she was just so enamored with the fact that it's a name brand. She's like, oh my God, okay, I see you. You got the Burlington Coat Factory with the furniture on, don't it? I'm like, shit, I guess. Like, And so she was like, yo, like, let me borrow that shirt. So I didn't think nothing of it, because it was already dirty. It was kind of musty, dusty. So I took it off, and when I tell you she put it on and she ran around the club like she was just Princess Diana, like she was just some boss chick or something. She like, yeah, Now I never saw that chick again or my shirt. Now I wasn't tripping because I ain't paid nothing but like $3 for that shirt. So I wasn't tripping about that. And so when I woke up, I had this dream. I woke up, I told one of my homegirls about it or whatever. And she told me what she thought it meant. So I went outside in the sun. I got the download. What it meant was, I'm the type of person, and this is something that I always knew about myself anyway. So it's confirmation. I'm the type of person where I can take something that someone else would look at as trash, or I could find things that other people would pay top dollar for, and I would find it in a super discounted type of way. And I just know how to make stuff look good, and it don't be shit for real. I just know how to make it look good. Like, I'm the type of person, and I do this. Like, I'm the type of person, I can get some shoes from Walmart. I can get like them little and one shoes from Walmart, and put it with a nice jogging set, and I'll be walking around Florida. I have my Elekes on, I got my hat on, got my shades on, I got me some nice jogging pants on with these Walmart shoes with the cuff over the tongue of the shoe. Man, I'll be walking past dude like, hey man, those some nice ass Jordans you got on, man. Like, them just nice, man. What's that? You know, kind of creeping up. Like man, then I pull my pants leg up and they see the AND1. They're like, man, you know, these the Walmart 4000s right here. They're like, oh. Like, damn, man, I thought those was the new fives, or, you know, I thought those was the new J's, man. Damn, I ain't know. You know, I'm just that type of person where, you know, one of my hidden gifts, you know, something that I've always been able to do. I know how to take something that's not looked at as valuable, and I know how to rock it to a point where I can make it valuable. I can make it hot. You know, same thing Michael Jackson did with the moonwalk. He took an old dance, the backslide, he put his own little sauce on it, and he brought it back. And now it's the moonwalk. You know? And the thing about it is, it only takes but someone to do that in a certain setting, in a more powerful, you know, social type of setting, and they can bring anything back in style. All it takes is for the right person to wear it, and you can bring it back in style. And that's a hidden gift. That's one of the hidden gifts that I have. You know? And so I ended up going to sleep again, asked the same, you know, question, like, okay, what is something else? So this dream was a lot more, it had a lot more meat to it. But there was like a big event. There was like a big event that happened that had to do with like a celebrity. And the only reason why I was able to remember it was because it was this particular celebrity. So I had one of those Keke Palmer dreams again, but this time it was a different celebrity. You know, it's a chick that right now she's super successful with this you know, thing that she did, and she took a chance on herself, and she was able to make big. Like she's like multi-million-dollar now or whatever. So in this dream, I ended up, like, I was cool with this celebrity, this person, and she was in this, she was like you know, she's a lot skinnier now, but in this dream, this was like the bigger version of her. I don't know, being honest with you, I kind of like the big version of her better than the skinnier version of her, you know. So, you know, this is the bigger version of her that I'm dreaming about. And so we just cool. So something happened to where she get into this real big fight. Like she's like in the beginning stages of what it is that she ended up making millions of. She's in the beginning stages of it. So she get into this real big fight, and she get into this breakup with her dude, and it was like a real crazy situation. Now, me, I just stumbled into the scene. Like I didn't know that I was gonna like meet her. I didn't know that I was gonna end up getting cool with her. I stumbled onto the scene at that point, you know, where the breakup happened. We ended up getting like real cool, you know, because she was already kind of emotionally going through it. You know, me, you know, I'm just looking to have some fun. Like I'm just looking to smash on something. Like, you know, I'm just looking to smash on something. So we ended up smashing. So in this dream, we ended up smashing. And, you know, since I was already on that type of time, And, she was in a situation to where, that was something that she really, really needed. It was like I kind of switched up her attitude. So she went from being super pissed off, like about to emotionally just give up on everything. She went from that to, thanking me, and, we end up going our separate ways. We end up staying cool, or whatever. Now, when I woke up from that dream, this was like a whole nother download that I got. And this kind of put other things into perspective about another hidden power that I'm realizing that I have now, because this is also something that I feel like this is something that started when I really started getting on my path. And I feel like the more I'm able to notice certain things in people, the more this gift is going to grow and grow. And then this is going to turn into something that's going to bring prosperity into my life. And it's not even something that I'm just looking for. It's just like I'm the type of person where I just stumble onto stuff. I stumble onto something, and I don't understand what the relationship is going to end up doing. Like, I don't understand until after it happens, and I'm like, dang, like I'm just minding my own business, and I get an email. Like, this is just an example. Like, I'm on my path, I just minding my business, and I just randomly get an email by someone named Melanie, the Spirit Doula. Just randomly. And so, who would have known? Just me, just doing what I do, just being me on my path. Who would have known that years later that turned into her, helping me to create a website, her showing me that I could be a teacher, giving me a chance with her, being on her platform, and with the shadow work class and all of these type of things, and even helping me out, teaching me about herbs and all of this type of stuff. So, even though now, she's off, she's doing her thing, I'm proud of her, she's doing real good, with her companies now. And, I had to kind of, I'm doing my own thing over here on this side. It was one of those type of things to where it was just something that just stumbled in my lap. And I would have never known that this was going to turn into all of this, but that's just, if I was one of those type of people where I'm looking for money, or I'm materialistic, or, I'm a, evil, I'm a selfish person or something like that, I would have missed out on all of those blessings. And that's just one person, like I got certain people in my life that are real, like real goddesses, real witches, real warlocks. And we had that same type of starting out. Just me on my path, lolly, just doing what I'm supposed, just doing what I'm doing. And then something happens to where this person hit me up for a reading. Or this person hit me up and they need a card read, or they need something. And then now I help them unlock something in their selves, and now they're coming back telling me like, yo, Spirit want me to tell you this and this and this. So make sure you're doing this and this and this. Or now it's a situation to where I got certain women that represent certain goddesses. So I'll get an inkling, Oya is gonna contact me today. And then sure enough, Yvette B hit me up like, yo, you on my mind. Yo, I got a message for you. This is whatever. And it's something that I've been, that's another thing. That's another thing that happens when you're able to put these pieces together through the journey to remembrance. Building up your network. What's up, Sam? What's up, IFE? What's good with you? I seen you call me, but I was telling you that I was live. So what that dream was trying to tell me, a lot of times when I cross paths with people, either they're about to enter a tower moment, or they're about to enter a major type of transformation in their life. I appreciate that, bro. I definitely appreciate that. It's like I meet I meet certain people, and this is why too, like when you say that you represent something, you better make sure that you know what you doing, because you start to turn into that. Like I say I'm Eshu, I say I'm Legba, and I literally meet people right when they're at a crossroad in their life. And if you don't judge me and you befriend me, and I end up helping you out with whatever little stuff that I got, I've been watching since you told me you were live, little bro. Casamigo shots. Yo, shoot, if I can afford to get this room for another night, I might take some of that, but I don't know. I got a 10 spot. I got a 10 spot, you know, and 10 people in the chat, 10 likes. I appreciate y'all. So another one of my hidden powers is that a lot of times sometimes it's about not knowing everything. Sometimes it's about you just doing what you're supposed to do, and you not knowing every single detail. And that's hard for me, because you know I be wanting to know everything. I be wanting to know every single detail, everything. But sometimes a lot of my blessings come in when certain people come in my life, and I don't understand what they're here for. Something just tells me help them, or stick with this person, or you know, this person needs you, you know, help them out. They ain't trying to scam you. They're not trying to do nothing bad to you. And then that person ends up on down the line being someone that's like super influential in my life. Think about the person. Today's my son's birthday. Hey, shout out to your son. Shout out to Warrior. Shout out to my sister Tanisha, aka Warrior. Her birthday is also on the 23rd. Think about the person that was with her, you know, before she blew up, and you know, before she when she was working on her stuff and all of that. And if that person was still with her, or whoever was with her when she blew up, all of those people became rich too. Like think about LeBron. You know, think about the people that was with LeBron, like his true friends that believed in him when he was still practicing, you know, when he was still, you know, trying to get that ring and all of that. And now, you know, those are all of his close friends are also multimillionaires, you know. And that's just one instance. Another time, and this is the last one, and I'm gonna let y'all go if y'all don't got no questions. I had a dream. I was like, okay, so I understand when I get this RV, you know, when I get this RV, when I get this you know, this trailer, this RV, you know, whatever it is that I decide to get, I'm understanding now that this is going to be a whole lifestyle change. It's not going to be just me getting it, you know, this is going to be a whole lifestyle change. So what are some things that I got to watch out for? What are some things that I got to watch out for? So I asked my subconscious mind this. I went to sleep and I had a very specific dream. So I had a dream that I ended up linking up with a van life group. I think it was like a van life group, or it was like one of these RV groups where you got, and you know, they're about saving the world, saving the earth, you know, off the grid living, you know, it was like a community of people. And so since I'm living this certain lifestyle now, I'm getting cosmic, super cosmic level downloads and I'm sharing it, I'm sharing it with my community and stuff like that. So something happens where, and this is all what happened in my dream. So something happened where the government started to crack down on certain groups. They started to crack down on certain things, and the dream kind of switched, and it showed me being like interrogated by some agents, like by some government agents. They took my laptop, they took my phone, they took all my stuff, asking me different questions. Are you a part of this group? Do you have these type of thoughts? Like, do you have this? I'm like, no, like, now I was innocent. They couldn't get me on nothing. But in my mind, I had somewhere that I needed to go, and now since I don't have certain things that they won't give me back until like a month later or weeks later, now it's putting a delay on my journey, because now I'm stuck in this spot until I get my stuff back. They won't tell me why they took it, but it has something to do with who I am and what I was saying and all that type of stuff. And so when I woke up, I was real pissed off, because that dream was saying, it's almost like this whole time you've been practicing on how to survive, how to be alone, how to work alone, how to have soul family, how to be stealthy, like how to, do certain things. And a lot of times these social media groups and a lot of times these groups and these social media groups and stuff like that, a lot of them are infiltrated with agents. And with this world going the way it's going, the last thing that they need is a potential messiah. So they looking, everybody else is talking about bullshit. Everybody else talking about modern black women, modern men. Everybody else talking about all this other stuff. So you in this group, and you talking about like cosmic level downloads and all this type of stuff. They're like, oh shit, we found one. But see, when you're not a part of a group, but you got a network of soul family members who are also in that with that same type of energy, you don't have to go through that. So that's what that dream was telling me. It was like, yo, when you get this, don't be a part of no group, don't be a part of no community and all this type of stuff, because if something happens where they get infiltrated, you're gonna, when people find out who you are and what you can do and all this, all your stuff, you're gonna get unwanted and unwarranted attention. And you're innocent, so nothing is gonna happen to you. But it's like, damn, like, like why would you put yourself in that type of situation where you can be on the radar, when you can just, you can just be to yourself, So that was the first dream I had. And then the second dream, and this one pissed me off, because this dream I had to take my dad to see my uncle. And so, in this dream I got my rental car, which, I got. And so I'm dropping him off to see my uncle. And this dream, it was one of those type of dreams to where I had to really understand why or what certain symbols meant to me, because it wasn't just any uncle. It was like a close uncle. It was an uncle that knows a lot of things that my other uncles don't know about, and so in this dream, he was like, it was like I had supersonic hearing, and I can hear him telling my dad, like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He paying all that money for that rental car, and he can put that money towards getting his own car. He just wasting money for nothing. I don't know what he doing. like all this type of stuff. Now, mind you, this uncle, he sees the current situation that I'm in, and this uncle has resources, whether it's helping me get on where he's at, working, or resources as far as, he know that I'm a hard worker. He know that if he can front me something, or if he can loan me something, that I can give it, right back to him. And none of those things happened. So he was someone who could have helped me, but instead, behind my back, they don't think I'm listening. They're saying all of this stuff. And so I'm listening to them, talk shit about me, and I'm driving, I'm not looking where I'm going, and in front of me there's a police car that stopped in the middle of the road, and I hit it, I bump it in the back. So now my mind is like, oh shit, I hit this police car, damn, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, see, if something happened where this cop tries to arrest me or something like that, they wouldn't even come out and help me. That's the way I was thinking in my mind. And just my luck, the police officer was in the house, in that next house, making an arrest. So I was able to duck out. I was able to back up, drive around it, hurry up and duck and hit the other corner before he came out and saw what was going on. And then I woke up. So everything that I asked my subconscious mind in that realm, it told me straight out, like, okay, these, when you get this, these are some things that you got to look for. Understand that, the people that you're gonna need to link up with, you're just gonna stumble into them on your path, and you're gonna get a spiritual inkling that these are the people that you need to hang around, or this is the person that you need to hang around. And that's happening. I feel like I've been in a training mode with my truck. Me being on that type, being on the road, for the years that I was, because that's how my life would go. I meet like 1 or 2 people a year, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. But these are people that are still in my life today, and they help me out. It may not be financially all the time, but a lot of times it's things in my life that I'm going through, and I just need a word, and they know the exact word that I need, or whatever. So don't be a part of no group. When you're on this road to sovereignty, don't be a part of the sovereign community. If it's a organized community, don't be a part of it, because all these organized communities that's out here now are all infiltrated. And then the second thing, you gotta know for yourself that you're protected. You gotta know for yourself that you're gonna be provided for, and you gotta understand that not everybody wants what you're trying to obtain. And since not everybody wants what you're trying to obtain, not everybody's gonna understand the road that you gotta take in order for you to get that thing that you're trying to obtain. So you see how I was able to get exactly what I needed. I didn't have to join no class. I didn't have to, do no special ritual. I just did some simple shit, and I'm still learning. I'm still tweaking it. But it's one thing that I got, that Spirit told me. Spirit was like, since a lot of us don't understand what abundance is, and this is the last thing. Since spiritually we don't understand what abundance is, abundance in a earthly term, like in this matrix term, is a scam. If you're trying to ask for if you're trying to get an abundance of money, or you're trying to get an abundance of material things, or you're trying to get an abundance of cars or shoes or whatever, it's a scam. You know, abundance in that realm is a scam. Abundance in that realm is a scam. And a lot of times, that's the reason why you don't get it. This is what I got in a channel. It's a scam, and that's the reason why you don't get it. Why? Because on a spiritual level, on a solar level, you're already abundant. It's like me. You know, I already got all the toys at home that I ever want to play with. You know? And so me asking for abundance in the matrix, me asking for abundance in the matrix is the same, is an equivalent to me being over my grandmother's house, which is a temporary situation, and I'm trying to bring all my toys from home in a bag, and I'm trying to bring all of that stuff over my grandmother's house, thinking that I'm gonna just play with all this stuff by myself, and I don't gotta share it with my cousins, and I'm just gonna have it. You know, same thing. And the main thing that I got was, you're not supposed to ask for abundance today. What realm? What do you, when you say what realm, what do you mean? But what I got was what I got was, instead of asking for abundance, ask for enough. Because think about it. When you're trying to ask for abundance in a matrix that's always changing and things are always going obsolete, it's gonna get to the point where the thing that you got an abundance of, you know, it starts to get useless because you're temporary. So you can't use all of that abundance. When I say asking for abundance, I'm saying like in a matrix type of way. Like, I want an abundance, like I want $1 million, or I want I want a whole bunch of Jordans, or like a whole bunch of like cars, or like something like that. Like, this is someone who went on TikTok, and they trying to get, you know, material. They trying to get like low level type of stuff, and they don't understand who they are. They don't understand themselves, and they just found some type of, oh, join my abundance class, and I'm gonna show you how to get this. You know, I'm gonna show you how to get $1 million man. Join my abundance class. Join my abundance class, and I'm gonna show you how to get a $1 million man that's 6 feet tall. You know, got the 666, and he's just waiting for you with my class. I'm talking about that when I talk about abundance is a scam. Because on a solar level, you're already abundant. You know, you can't handle in this matrix that we're in this realm that we're in. You can't handle all the abundance that you actually have on a solar level. You are not this body. You can't even handle all of your consciousness in this brain. You know, you can't handle the abundance that you really have. It's this gospel song that say God will open up the windows of heaven, pour you out a blessing that you will not have the room to receive it. You know, my cup runneth over. You know, the 23rd number song, my cup runneth over. You can only hold but so much. So you can get what you want, but at the end of the day, it slows you down because you end up being a hoarder. You end up being a hoarder and a miser because, say you want an abundance of food. Well, you can only eat but so much. So if you don't do nothing with the rest of the abundance of food that you got, it's gonna spoil. It's gonna spoil, and then that's gonna end up, filling your house with bugs and other acts of nature that can use that abundance, that can use that, take that off your hands. So the main thing that I've gotten in my channels is ask for enough. Feel in your soul that you already got it, that you already got the abundance, and just ask for enough. Because when you have enough, then you're able to do other things. You're able to stop worrying about that one thing, and now you're able to transition and do other things. Think about it. You can get picked on, you can get bullied on, you can get picked on, but it's something that happens when you had enough. See, it's a play on words. It's something that happens. It's something that happens when you had enough. When you've had enough. I've had enough. And there's a spirit that takes over. And this is when the bully when the punk stands up to the bully, and now he becomes redeemed. This is when you decide, I gotta leave this job because if I've had enough. If I stress my, I'm the action figure snapping. If I stretch myself a little bit too, if I stretch myself one more time, I'm gonna end up snapping, and I'm gonna black out, and I'm gonna put myself in a restricted situation. I've had enough. It's only when you've had enough that you start to transform. And when you ask for enough, you get exactly what you need. And when that runs out, that means that cycle has ran out. So now it's time for you to hop on something else. Why do you think that the richest people in the world, they rent stuff and they lease stuff? Like they own like real like, different type of assets, but it's all about appreciating assets. Since I've been doing the rental car thing, I've driven a lot of different type of vehicles, to the point where, I kind of know what vehicle that I really want now. Or if I get an RV, I know what type of chassis I want, like a Ford chassis, a GMC type of chassis. Like I've driven RAV4s, I've driven Chargers, I've driven a lot of different rental cars. And rental cars, it's like the best type of car to get because it's well maintained. It's well maintained. And if something happens to it, I can take it back and tell them I want something else, and then I can get something else. I'm not held down to just having one type of car that I'm trying to own it. Now, it's a caveat to it. There's a caveat to it, because at the end of the day, I have to pay per week. It's a caveat to it, but it's just a temporary type of situation until you understand what you really want, and then you can go for that. It's not that asking for abundance is pointless. It's just that when people talk about abundance, they don't talk about it in a holistic type of way. I'm gonna say it like that. They don't say it it's like You really don't want abundance. You just want enough. Like, I just want enough. Enough for me, enough for my family, enough for my kids. You know, I just want enough. That's really what you want. But with this prosperity gospel, prosperity preaching, you know, society that we live in, that word abundance, it gets thrown around in conversations where even if you got the abundance, you don't even have a container that can hold it. You know, you don't even have the right type of situation that can hold the abundance, that can house it. You don't have a power plant. You don't got a power plant. You're asking for an abundance of power, but you don't have a power plant that can handle an abundance of power. You know? In a holistic way, it's kind of like you know, you like say you're building a river system, like you're digging it. You know, you're digging this tunnel, you're digging this pathway out, and once you dig the pathway out, then you start kind of, you know, digging into the actual river so the water can flow down it and stuff like that. You know, that's a good analogy for that. So, you know, you're the type of person, you already got the business, you already got the EIN, you already got your name trademarked, you already got all the things on your end, so that when you ask for an abundance of customers, you'll be able to supply the abundance. You know? And at the end of the day, this is where you have to be, you gotta understand what you can handle. You know, like, yo, I just need enough for my situation. Because, you know, like Erykah Badu say, it's about packing light. It's about packing light. So there's some things that we ask for an abundance of. If we get it, it's just gonna slow you down. Now, there's some things that you can ask for an abundance for, and it don't slow you down. Like an abundance of credit. That's not gonna slow you down. If you ask for an abundance of insight, you know, to the point where you're able to be in an environment and you understand right then, you understand where to move, you understand who to talk to, you understand where to shake, you know, where to make things, where to put certain gifts and certain things, like I was talking about, that you used to do as a kid. You know how to put certain things to use, where it's like, okay, you know, give me an abundance of knowledge in this particular subject that I'm learning, or whatever. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying asking for it is pointless. It's just that a lot of times in the situations that we ask for abundance, we really just need enough, because you need to be able to go with the flow. So you need to be able to have enough so that when you run out, you can transform. That's why, you know, when you get a phone, a lot of times we opt for this plan to where, you know, we got the phone, we're leasing the phone, because the phones are always changing. So why am I going to buy a phone? You know, why am I going to buy this phone when I can just lease it, and then as soon as the new phone comes out next year, I can just upgrade my phone, and then I got a new phone, and I'm with the flow again. You know, and with the concept of digging the path of the river needs, yeah, the ocean where there's a yes, exactly. You know, and in my lectures ahead, I'm gonna be talking about the delta, because the delta is the ocean that you're talking about, but it's an ocean in your mind. And women, they have this gift. Y'all have this gift, you know, being the sacred goddesses. Y'all have this gift of reaching the delta, you know, in your mind, you know. But it's like one of those things to where y'all have a built-in responsibility system. Because in order for you to reach your delta, you have to be in a highly orgasmic state in order for you to reach a sacred delta. And I'm gonna go into this next time. You know, when we talk about the metaphysics of show production, I'm gonna break down the quote unquote, I'm gonna break down the quote unquote Illuminati pyramid. I'm gonna tell you how the Illuminati, that pyramid is nothing but a cheap imitation of the metaphysics of the woman, the womb. The pyramids are nothing but wombs, sacred wombs. How they have the trap door, and the trap door got water, fills up with water like Indiana Jones. You have a trap door too, and you know, your trap door is very sensitive. You got one, it's very sensitive, and if that trap door, if it gets stimulated a certain way, that water is gonna fill up. That water is gonna fill up in your womb the same way that you saw on Indiana Jones when the trap door at the door of the pyramid, and then the water started coming out. You know. And I hate Dolo the pilot, man. He beat me to it because he was talking about Taurus today. Now, I got this. I can show y'all the timestamp. I got this message around the time that Lizzo came to Memphis. I got this whole lecture, this whole thing about stimulating the Taurus, the Toris. You know. Our pyramids, the capstone, either the capstone used to float in the air, or the pyramids didn't have a capstone because there was a beam that shot up on the roof of the pyramid, and where it took you to, it was the delta, where my father's house had many mansions. It took you to the delta. And women, y'all have that, you know. But you know, in this world, in this matrix that we live in, a lot of these things, you had to forget. Like, they made you forget. They demonized the knowledge. They turned it into dark magic. They turned it into, you know, dark arts and all that type of stuff. You know, they turned it into all of these dark things to put y'all away from y'all power, because you know, this is how as women, y'all used to bring stuff down, bring resources down, and bring different things down, and they used to just appear. They used to just appear in the reality. It's like a cheat code, you know. You know, like it's so much habits, it's so many things that we just do, and we've been taught that it's bad, we've been taught that it's wrong, we've been taught that it's ghetto, but it's just because it's who we are, and we just don't understand. Like, there used to be a divine reason why we would do this stuff, you know. It's a divine reason why the thuggy with the good D is always able to you know, to get a woman to a certain level, to where it just seemed like she just able to take care of him. You know, anything he need, she got it. He need a car, she got it. He need, you know, certain things, she got it. You know, because she's in a state of bliss, because he got the good D. And see, we call that hobosexual. we call that the hobosexual now. You know? Like, and that's just one thing, you know, cause you gotta remember, who are the thuggies? The thuggies are the devotees of Kali. You know? And Kali is a symbol. She's not no purple woman with 8 arms and all of that. she represents a symbol of the divine feminine that this matrix don't want you to tap into as a woman, because she's destructive. Too many black women tapping into that Kali energy, and they know what they doing. Man, this shit can end overnight. Certain things can end overnight, you know. And that's just one example. But I got so much, like, I got, like, when I tell y'all, I got like 4 or 5 different lectures that I got to get out. I got to finish The Shadow Work Ain't Pretty. I got to do this Metaphysics of Show Production. Inside of that, I'm gonna talk about the Divine Nine. Like I just got so much stuff that I gotta tell y'all. You know, it's just that with my particular situation that I'm in right now, you know, I gotta take care of my dad. I gotta grind. I gotta work. You know, I kind of figured that in Memphis I wasn't gonna be too active on YouTube. You know, because that freedom and that privacy, you know, I don't really have that no more, you know, in my current situation. You know, even right now, you know, I had to tap into my savings that I'm gonna have to make this up, you know, in order for me to get this room so I can give y'all this message. But I wanted to give y'all this because I haven't done this in like 3 years. And, you know, when I first started, I didn't know what I was going to really talk about. I didn't know how far this journey to remembrance was going to go. But I'm 3 hours in. Like I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta get up in the morning so I can check out, you know. But with y'all support, you know, the more support that I get from y'all, the less I gotta do this grinding, you know, and I can just be with y'all. I can just, you know, just spend that time with y'all, you know, because my inner child loves teaching. Like, it's something that, like, shout out to Melanie, like, she really unlocked something in me. Like, I just love to teach, and I don't be knowing what I'm finna teach. My inner child just like, yo, like, you gotta teach this, like, you gotta talk about this. And I'm like, oh shit, like, let's go. I'm like, let's go, and the words just come out. You know. So you know, the more support that I get from y'all, the more y'all will see me, you know, till I get into a situation that's going to happen very soon, to where, you know, I'll be able to do a lot more of these live streams like I used to in 2020, you know, 2021, you know, all of that. So I don't know when the next time I'm gonna be live like this again. I gave y'all so much to go and research, and I gave y'all some methodologies that y'all can do, you know. So in the comments, in the future, in the comments, you know, let me know how this worked out for y'all. You know, let me know how this worked out for y'all. Let me know how this you know, how this worked, you know. And you know, I definitely appreciate all of y'all. Have you thought about collaboration? Collaboration with what? Collaboration with who? I don't go out. I don't really go out looking for people to collaborate with, unless I'm led to. Cause I've had situations where I collab with people, and, you know, different things will go down, and, you know, it put a bad taste in my mouth. You know, I'll collab with people, and, you know, never heard from them again. You know, like when I collab with people, I like for it to turn into a like a soul family type of relationship. You know, where we're able to build and all of that kind of stuff. Just setting up a podcast collaboration. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out like more ways I can, because this right here, the way I'm doing this live stream right here, I have to be in a stationary place. You know, I just got to figure out like different ways to where maybe I could like go live while I'm dashing or something like that. Like I tried to go live while I was dashing on my phone. I was live for like 15 minutes and nobody showed up. And then I went and asked certain people. They didn't get no notifications that I was even live. You know? So that put me back to, it's like the only way that people can get my notifications is when I do this style. And you know, me doing this style, I gotta be in a stationary place, you know. But that's where y'all come in. You know, if y'all know some brothers or some sisters that you feel like that I would gel well with, you know, send them my videos, you know, send them my live streams, and I always put the information to contact me in the live stream, so you can always get in touch with me. Collaborating with family that vibes with you and can accommodate with you. Yeah, like I say, you know, my higher self, a lot of times I find like one or two people per year sometimes, you know, that I'll be able to do something with. So I go off of spirit now. You know, I don't go out like, oh, this person hot, let me try to collab with them, or this, you know. But if it happens, you know, if, like I said, like if y'all know some people, just send them my stuff and let them decide if they want to collab with me. You know, I know that you was live until I was told. Yeah, you see what I mean? You see what I mean? You see? And I don't got nothing bad in the title. You know, I don't got nothing bad in the thumbnail. Like, I don't know why it's like this. Like, I feel like the only reason why these people are here is because, you know, I put on Instagram, I put on Facebook, Snapchat. I was like DMing people like, yo, I'm live. I got certain people, I call them up, yo, I'm live. Check me out. You know? So I'm 32, 3 plus 2 is 5. That is freedom and change. And my 5th house is in Aquarius. And my Saturn is in Aquarius. So with everything that I've been hearing from different astrologers and myself, you know, I think this is going to be a Saturn return ending and a beginning for something that's going to be as adventurous as the last 3 years. Because from 2020, well, from 2018 to 2022, I went on a hell of a transformation from my content, from the channels I was getting, from the videos I was doing. I went on a major transformation throughout those years. So, you know, with this, it's like I got a hunger and a thirst for knowledge. Like half of me is on a thirst for knowledge, and I'm talking about that deep shit, that real deep knowledge, you know. But half of me, I still got stuff that I need to teach. Like I still got stuff that I need to put out. Like I still got stuff that I'm sitting on that I gotta put out. You know, so that's the Gemini. You know, the Legba wants to teach, the Eshu wants to explore and go deeper. You know, and Oya will definitely let him go deep, but he got to make sure that he's prepared. He got to make sure he know what he doing if he go on that journey, because you know, with Oya, it ain't no crying to your mama, it ain't no I didn't know, it ain't none of that. You know, the dark web, and I'm not talking about the dark web on the internet. The spiritual dark web, it can get you what you need, but you got to know where you're going. The spiritual dark web, because we have that too. it can get you what you need, but you got to know where you're going, and you got to have an open mind. Because once you get in that dark web, it's going to be some people, places, and things that you can't judge them. You can't judge where you get this knowledge from, but it's going to be exactly what you trying to get. But it's going to be non-conventional, you know. you can't judge it. Yeah, shadow banning is really, yeah, you know. So, you know, I appreciate all of y'all for sharing, liking, you know, sharing the video. The more likes it get, the more it's able to go in the algorithm. I gotta, you know, either get me some time or get me a soul family member that can chop these videos up into like smaller videos. This video is gonna have to, you know, get chopped down. You know, I'm gonna have to take the remixes and stuff out, you know, as always. But I appreciate all of y'all being here, you know, for my birthday stream. I feel good that I was able to get this out. I always feel a burden being lifted when I talk to y'all and I get this out. I feel like I took a massive dump, you know, and now I can, you know, get on my next mission. So just know, when y'all ain't seeing me, you know, the baby Eshu is always working. You know, the baby Eshu is always exploring. He's working. You know, he's a baby, so he moves really, really slow. But best believe, slow and steady always wins the race. You know, slow and steady wins the race. And if y'all can heed that message, you will be glad that you did. So I appreciate all of y'all for being here. You know, as you all know, I still got my services on my website. If you need a reading, I still do my readings. I still do my Everything is Everything readings. www.bandclaptv.com. If y'all want to check those out, you know, my website is still up and running. You know, the more support I get on that end, you know, the less I'll have to work on this end, and then I'll be able to be more live with y'all, you know, and shadow ban my videos, and they took them down. You see what I mean? So that's why I you know, that's why I word things the way I do. I make sure I don't put celebrity titles in the video, even though I know that'll bring more people to it. But I understand that doing that will also put a target, you know, because I feel like there's certain celebrities that got certain people that scour. So even if you put like hashtag Beyonce or hashtag this person, you know, they can ban your video. They can give you a strike or whatever, you know. So, you know, the more support I get on one end, the more I'll be able to use that time and energy to, you know, to give y'all the messages that I get. And you know, I love y'all. I appreciate all of y'all for being with me, for you know, for making this birthday stream a success, you know. And as I always say, until next time, BandClap TV, we out. And no matter what you go through in your journey to remembrance, just know this one thing: no matter what, you gotta stay shining. You gotta stay shining through all of it, because when you're staying shining, through all of it, see, it's one of those things